Hello there, very good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News. My name is Sonali Wanika Baduke.
Thank you, Sonali, and I'm Navin Majid. Let's start with a look at the headlines.
Domestic mechanism to address accountability issues to be introduced in 18 months. A statement by the Foreign Minister. Government believes that the hybrid court would convert into a domestic mechanism. Minister Rajapaksa pledges that the investigation on fraud and corruption will not be stifled.
නීතිපතිතුමා කියනවා ඇවන්ගාඩ් එකටත් නැහැයිලු. එතකොට ගෝඨාභයටත් නැහැයිලු. KPටත් නැහැයිලු. දැන් අහන්න තියෙන නීතිපතිත් නැද්ද කියලා.
Colombo Outer Circular Highway section from Kaduvela to Kadawatha declared open.
Starting off your news tonight, former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa was once again summoned before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry appointed to investigate and inquire into serious acts of fraud, corruption and abuses of power, state resources and privileges.
The former Defence Secretary was questioned for over 6 hours pertaining to the investigations on Waggoner Lanka Limited and its transactions. In addition to Gotabaya Rajapaksa, former parliamentarian Duminda Silva and former Provincial Minister Upali Kodikara were also summoned for questioning. Secretary to the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, Lasiel De Silva, said that former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa was questioned on the weapons of Waggoner Lanka Limited.
The co-cabinet spokesperson, Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, also reiterated that investigations into acts of fraud and corruption will not be stifled.
The Attorney General says there is nothing on Avantgarde, there is nothing on Gotabaya and there is nothing on KP. So what we have to ask is there nothing on the AG? That is all I can ask. My stance will not change. I am aware that this process is wrong. I raised this at the cabinet meeting yesterday. We will not stop this no matter who the AG is. Those who support Mahinda Rajapaksa and obtain benefits from him are in the top seats of the institution.
ඔවුන්ගේ වරප්‍රසාද ලබාගත්ත කට්ටිය මේකේ මූලික පුටුවල ඉන්නේ.
This needs to be addressed. Bills and acts need to be introduced. That is why we created the national government.
Yesterday the Prime Minister said that he was telling that about KP there were not enough evidence brought to him. But then he should have said that there is not enough evidence submitted to him. That is clear. But rather than saying that here no allegations against him, that means clearing the KP. Then the second thing is about Avantgarde also. I think the Janata Yukti, whatever said and done, they have submitted about 198 allegations against them. So then they, according to Mr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, said that these are only the WikiLeaks and other internet documents. There is nothing else. Right? The people don't want a new government if the same the procedures go on in the country. So the people wanted a new government with very high hopes. මේ රටේ මට පේන විදිහට නම් සල්ලි තියනවා නම් ඕන එකක් කරගත හැකියි. සල්ලි තියෙන්නට ඕනේ.
You need not fear. There will be solutions. We need to be patient for those solutions. They will try to stifle it. We will not allow that.
Now, for a more in-depth report on the investigation into Avantgarde Security Services Limited, you can watch the Suttoner Political Debate program on Sirasa TV this Saturday at 7:40 p.m.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna today put forward a set of proposals on immediate reforms, including the complete abolition of the executive presidency.
A media briefing was organized to elaborate on the matter and was attended by leader of the JVP, Anurukumar Dissanayake, professionals and artists. It proposes to introduce regulations that would see the parliament seat of an MP being stripped in the event of a crossover. The JVP also proposes that the 19th Amendment be amended to ensure that there is no leeway to allow for the increase of the number of cabinet ministers and state and deputy ministers beyond 30 and 40 respectively. The JVP says that a new electoral system which will see the participation of multiple political trends be introduced and also give priority to the Right to Information Act and the National Audit Bill.
ගොඩනැගී තිබෙන ආණ්ඩුව
We wanted to introduce a series of proposals on reforms that will be fulfilled by the government. These proposals cannot be cast aside by any government. If their top priority is to respect the people's mandate, and if they are based on the people's mandate, they need to expedite the implementation of these proposals.
The section of the Colombo Outer Circular Highway from Kaduwela to Kadawatha was declared open today.
The highway was declared open under the auspices of Minister of Highways Lakshman Kiriyalla. The opening ceremony was held at the Kadawatha interchange. However, the ceremony was disrupted when a woman voiced her protest. The woman was later arrested by police. After the highway was officially declared open, the group, including the subject minister, travelled from Kadawatha to Kaduwela. The 8.9-kilometre long stretch from Kadawatha to Kaduwela comprises of 4 lanes. Constructed at a cost of nearly 45 billion rupees, the highway is expected to minimize traffic congestion, which is commonly seen in the Kaduwela town and the area surrounding the Kalaniya Bridge, due to the construction of 5 overpass bridges and the 250-metre-long 6-lane bridge over the Kalaniya River. Meanwhile, the Athurugiri interchange centre of the Colombo Outer Circular Highway was also declared open today.
Following the opening of the Colombo Outer Circular Highway section from Kaduwela to Kadawatha today, the charges for using the highway have also been announced. The Secretary of the Subject Ministry, B.C. Disanayaka, said that 100 rupees will be charged from light vehicles to travel from Kaduwela to Kadawatha. Heavy vehicles will be charged 200 rupees to travel on that section of the highway. In addition, light vehicles will be charged 650 rupees to travel from Kadawatha to Mathura, while heavy vehicles will be charged 1,750 rupees. The Ministry Secretary also said that the Kadawatha-Mathura bus service will also commence from tomorrow. The bus fare from Kadawatha to Mathura will be 500 rupees. The bus fare from Kadawatha to Gaul will be 400 rupees. The Ministry Secretary said that a bus will leave from the Kadawatha town every hour from 5:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Anuradha Jayaratne assumed duties as Deputy Minister of Mahaweli Development and Environment today.
President Maithripala Sirisena was also present at the event that took place at the Ministry of Mahaweli Development and Environment.
We hope to implement a Mahaweli campaign that would strengthen the economy through the Ministry of Mahaweli Development and Environment. That is what we need to do. Therefore, we need to build a program that would uplift the economy while connected with the Mahaweli.
Welcome back to the news. Minister of Foreign Affairs Mangala Samaravira says that they hope to prepare a domestic mechanism comprising of 4 sections within 18 months to address allegations of human rights violations. Addressing a media briefing in Colombo today, the minister said that a decision on a hybrid court or any other mechanism could only be made once this process is completed.
A media briefing was convened in Colombo today to elaborate on the report of the OHCHR investigation published by the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights.
We are revealing 4 sections of this mechanism. We will establish a commission for truth, justice, reconciliation and non-recurrence to be evolved in constitution with the relevant authority of South Africa. This mechanism is composed as having a dual structure. One is a compassionate council composed of religious dignitaries from all major religions in the country and a structure composed of commissioners. We also hope to establish an office on missing persons based on the principle of the family's right to know to be set up by statute with expertise from the ICRC and in line with internationally accepted standards. On the right to justice, we are proposing a judicial mechanism with a special council to be set up by statute. We also hope to establish a separate office through legal means to address the right to reparation. The 4th section is, I believe, the most important one of them all. We must guarantee non-recurrence of the incidents which took place in the past in the country. We will take into consideration the recommendations of this report and by mid-October commence discussions with all parties related to this matter. After discussing this matter with all parties related, our objective is to prepare the final mechanism by January and implement it within 18 months. We have created this mechanism not to please the international community or due to any interference. However, to take this mechanism forward, we definitely need the assistance of the international community in terms of technical assistance and even advice from experts. We have invited the High Commissioner for Human Rights to visit Sri Lanka by next month if possible.
මානව අයිතීන් කොමිසමේ මහ කොමසාරිස්තුමාට ලංකාවට එන්න හැකිතාක් ඉක්මනින් එන මාස විතර වෙනකොට ආරාධනා කරලා තියෙනවා.
Minister Samaravira also responded to criticisms made by various factions over the OHCHR investigation report.
හමුදාවට විරුද්ධව මහා දඩයමක්.
They said that through this report they will launch a major hunt against our army. However, there is no such thing in this report. It was us who prevented Mahinda Rajapaksa from being sent to the electric chair. However, this story of an electric chair was also a lie. Anyone who is aware of it will not speak of an electric chair because we are not a signatory of the Rome Statute. No Sri Lankan can be tried at The Hague.
ලංකාවේ කවුරුවත් හේග් නුවර උසාවියට ගෙනියන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs also responded to questions posed by journalists. It is said that a hybrid court is being established in the country because the legal and judicial system in the country cannot be trusted. But on this hand, this domestic mechanism is taking place through this legal system. So how can you say that our legal system is good and that it can be trusted?
Due
to the slump in our legal system in the recent past, I do not think anyone in their right mind can say that our legal system is good. We still remember how the law was implemented. Judges were appointed to the Supreme Court on the whim of the President. Not even 6 months after the war was ended, the independence of the judiciary was completely usurped through the 18th Amendment to the Constitution. We cannot rectify these harmful effects caused over 10 years overnight. So if someone is saying that our legal system is faulty, we have no reason to get angry.
ඒක නිසා කවුරු හරි කියනවා නම් අපේ නීති පද්ධතිය දුර්වලයි කියලා අපි තරහ වෙන්න ඕනේ.
What is the government's response to a permanent office of the UN High Commissioner being established in Sri Lanka?
We told the High Commissioner that there is no need for a permanent office, but we have no issue in the further strengthening of the UN office already established here.
දැනට තියෙන එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ සංවිධානයේ කාර්යාලය වඩාත් ශක්තිමත් කිරීමට අපේ විරෝධයක් නැහැ කියලා.
Various views were expressed following the publication of the investigation report on Sri Lanka by the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights in Geneva yesterday.
Although the words both sides has been used on most places, it has been left out. In the end, there is only one side. Although they call for a hybrid court, there will be none like that. Foreign justices will come here and persons will come to render the technical support to them. It will become a branch of the International Criminal Court. The TNA says it welcomes the report of the investigation conducted by the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and its recommendations. The TNA appeals to all parties and particularly the government of Sri Lanka to accept this report. The TNA says that it will use this moment so as to create an enabling culture and atmosphere in which the Tamil people could live with dignity and self-respect as equal citizens of Sri Lanka. The UN Human Rights Report calls for a hybrid court integrating international judges, prosecutors, lawyers and investigators. There is also an unclear situation. We hope for a broad explanation on the hybrid courts. The Tamil people continue to hope for an international investigation. The Prince has made it clear that it is most suitable for the UN Human Rights Council to intervene in this. We cannot agree to that. What we saw in the past was a fascist-style, murderous administration. Even the judiciary was destroyed. We are speaking after the revolution. The Prince has forgotten that there was a revolution. The foreign minister is saying that this is not a criminal court. At the end of the investigation, if one faces charges, what mechanism will be followed? We need to support and encourage to ensure that our people can undertake this. If Saudi Arabia controls the east, if Tamil Nadu controls the north, there will be no state to govern the south. The state can sometimes be the United Nations or even a hybrid state. There's a word in Sinhalese.
Hybrid වලට සිංහලෙන් වචනයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ සිංහල වෙන වචනේ පටන් ගන්නේ පොයන්නේ. ඉවර වෙන්නේ නයන්නේ.
We do not need any international courts. We do not need any international investigation. If there is any international investigation, withdraw them. There are intellectuals who can conduct an investigation in the country. I deny the allegations made against the army. However, if an isolated incident is taking place, if there is a credible evidence to prove that claim, we will not object for an investigation. The army will not pose any objection. When this was discussed during the previous government, there was a list of names. There were 48 names in the list. This time around, there have been amendments and there wasn't even a single name citing an allegation against any particular person. They are not directly accusing us of such acts. They noted that the trust needs to be placed on the President and the government. We will be monitoring this. We cannot make a submission on this. On the 24th, the final report will be presented. This will be mainly directed by the United States. Those who voted against at the United Nations will be expected to support this. Sometimes it will be passed unanimously. For example, take India and China. Sometimes there will be support for a domestic inquiry.
Minister Senaratne also responded to questions posed by journalists on allegations of war crimes.
How do you now shift gears from a position where you said not a single civilian was killed and now we're on to...
That was absurd, no? Then there is no war if there is no one civilian killed. That's right. That was the mistake, no? That was the mistake. We have to agree that there would have been, yes, if you say so, there would have been war crimes. So right, then we will investigate. That is what they are. But anyway, the former president also appointed the LLRC. The UN said to implement LLRC. US wanted, the EU wanted. That LLRC report, everybody was suspecting that would come out on the opinion of the then president. But it was not so.
Do you agree that there are no crimes?
But otherwise there is no war, no? Sorry? We had a war for 30 years. So then there must be crimes.
No.
Brigadier Deshapriya Gunawardana's appointment as Sri Lanka's attaché at the Sri Lankan embassy in Turkey was also discussed at the cabinet media briefing.
But what can you understand how come the government appointed him as a senior foreign post? But he was, at that time he was a suspect.
No, it's still the inquiry is on.
He was appointed
yes.
For senior foreign post. How come?
No, actually now we can't put allegation on him. He has already been.
By the time he was a suspect of this case.
No, actually, but he has not been given any offense on that.
But
so,
do you think it's fair?
No, that is, it is, but I can tell that because he has been appointed for that particular period as per his seniority, so he has been nominated, so he was allowed to go. And now the inquiry is on progress, now he has been called back, now he has come to Sri Lanka, so he will be able to go and give his views or comments or anything.
Probably to keep him away from these controversies.
I didn't get you.
Probably to keep him away from these controversies.
No.
The national ceremony to mark Sir Anagarika Dharmapala's 151st birth anniversary was held today under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The ceremony to mark Anagarika Dharmapala's 151st birth anniversary, which was held at the BMICH, also saw a book on his vision being unveiled. He is one who had a clear vision to redirect the country into the correct path. The great services of such sons of Sri Lanka will never be forgotten. That vision gains more importance as time goes by. It is clear that the vision of such characters are important to the denigrate society of today. Therefore, I believe that even if we have 100 Anagarika Dharmapalas, that too will not be enough for the country. Another birth commemoration event of late Sir Anagarika Dharmapala took place at the Mahabodhi temple in Maligakanda, Colombo. The Mahasangha, the speaker, several ministers and MPs and foreign dignitaries were present for the event. Anagarika Dharmapala used the Mahabodhi Society as the headquarters for all his tasks. Whenever the country faces injustice, misfortune, humility, corruption and disaster, such leaders are born. The country is fortunate in that. It was Dharmapala that sowed the seeds for independence back then. Anagarika Dharmapala protected Bodh Gaya with his life. Indian Prime Minister Modi visited us and said that Bodh Gaya will be made the main spiritual city of India. Therefore, it is a responsibility to recall Prime Minister Modi at this time, because after Nehru, it was he who had made such a comment.
The 2015 International Coastal Cleanup Program will be launched in Sri Lanka at the Golf Face Green on Saturday under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The International Coastal Cleanup has become an annual fixture since its inception on the 3rd of September 1986. The national program in Sri Lanka has been organized by the Marine Environment Protection Authority. Sri Lanka's 1,700-kilometer long coastline covers 14 districts. The invaluable coastline, which is crucial to the fisheries and tourism industries, has seen gradual destruction over the years as a result of human activity. The International Coastal Cleanup Program, which is important for Sri Lanka as well as the world for maintaining the environmental balance, will be implemented across 5 provinces.
Unlike in any other country around the world, we will clean up the entire coastline. The President has instructed us to carry out the program across the entire coastline. We will begin at the Golf Face Green at 7 a.m. on the 19th of September. We invite all of you to join us and participate in this program.
Welcome back. Staying in news at home, a police investigation has been launched into an assault on an individual by a group of persons in Dehiwala. The assault was captured on CCTV cameras installed at a nearby establishment.
3 persons had assaulted an individual down Polgaswatha Road in Dehiwala on the 15th. The victim of the beatdown was a 3-wheel driver. The 3-wheeler driver had been taken to a location and beaten under the guise of travelling for a fare in the taxi. The assailants had fled with the 3-wheeler, while the driver was seriously injured. They grabbed my hands on both sides. One placed a knife on my neck. I felt helpless at that time. When I tried to grab my keys, they bit my hands and then dragged me to the ground. They took away all my money. The police said that the 3-wheeler was recovered by the police and investigations are underway to apprehend the suspects.
That wraps up Primetime News for tonight. I'm Sonali Vanigabaduge.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Good night and good luck.